want to talk about right now is that we have, as Harold said, been looking at love. The theme for this month is living lovingly. Living lovingly. Living lovingly. Living lovingly. It's not a theory, it's a way you live. The book that has been inspiring me is The Mastery of Love by Don Miguel Ruiz. And in this book, he gives a parable. And a parable is just something that you describe that helps you understand something that's not understandable. So what he says is, and I'm going to do it sort of Middle Eastern, because he does mention the master Jesus a lot. So I think even though he's a Toltec master, which is ancient wisdom that comes out of the Mexico area, he quotes many masters in this book. But so since he mentions Jesus, let's just make it sort of Middle Eastern. The kingdom of heaven is like a kitchen. And in that kitchen, you can have anything you want. If you just open the pantry, if you want it, it is there. It is somehow just there. Do I sound kind of Middle Eastern there? No? Sort of Jewish mother? No? Well, where do you think the Jews came from? Come on, it's just there. Anyway, and then there is the refrigerator. Huge, massive. You want yogurt, there's yogurt. You open the freezer. You want avocado pizza, it's already there. Everything is there if it is in the kitchen. And that kitchen resides within you, for the kingdom of kitchen is within. But many people don't know about the kingdom of kitchen. Therefore, when they're desiring of something, they will take it from just anybody. So they desire something such as an avocado pizza. And the next thing they know, someone's ringing the doorbell and saying, guess what? I have avocado pizza. And if you will follow me and listen to me and obey me and do everything I want, means smile when I want you to and leave when I want you to and stay when I want you to, if you do what I ask, then I will give you this avocado pizza. And you go, oh, I desire avocado pizza. All right. And then all of a sudden you're stuck with this person because they are your source of avocado pizza, not knowing that if you wanted avocado pizza, it was in the pantry of your own heart. Thus saith the Lord. Well, this is good because a lot of people look to other people for the things that they want. And so today I want to talk about being a magnet for love, but I don't mean just the kind of love like with another, but the kind of love that shows up in all sorts of ways, of having a best friend, of having a community, of whatever you want, having that show up, because it can show up because it's all within you. There is this opportunity for you to honestly have the kind of relationship that you want, any kind that you want. And why wouldn't we want to have relationships? They're fun, they're rewarding, they're enjoyable. We are social animals. Have you noticed that? Why do you think social media is exploding? Now, why is it exploding? Now, that's a question. It's social, but you don't have to touch anybody. How many of you are out there in the outskirts? Let's not get too close. So he shares another parable. And the next parable that he shares is that all of us were born. We were born perfect. We like to interact. We had our own personalities. But then we kind of got conditioned. And sometimes the way we were conditioned wasn't all that loving, just unskilled. So we got hurt. We were told that was bad and don't do that, and got yelled at, and somebody had a temper tantrum and we took it personally. How many of you know children like that? And so what happens is that this child starts to grow up, and what he says is they have wounds. Well, I'm not going to call them wounds. I don't know if they're just wounds, but we do know that there could be wounds. But let's just say that we have buttons. So somebody bumps into us and it pushes a button and we react. And so what can happen is that we start to protect ourselves so that we don't get hurt. And it's an old wound and it's an old button. And they don't mean to, but they pushed it, and we react, and we have this experience. I mean, I think it's called, I was talking to somebody last night, and they're in a 12-step program, and he was having this very wild reaction to something that I thought was fairly minor, and I said, now, don't you have an expression for that? Like, if it's hysterical, it's historical? He said, yeah, I hate that expression. He watches on Sunday. Hello. These big reactions are coming from old things. And we don't like to have these big reactions. We want to engage with other people. But we don't want to get hurt. So we continue to sort of be close to people, but have all these buffers and protections. So I won't mention this, and we won't go there, and I won't show this, and I won't get too close, and I will have one foot out the door. It's hard to dance this way. And yet we want to interact. We want to socialize. So do you see why social media is exploding? We can make ourselves think we have friends. Thousands of them. Thousands. And we only show them what we want them to see. And we all look so good. You want to get sad? You want to be envious? Go on Facebook. Everybody's taking a vacation. But it's not heart to heart, soul to soul, consciousness to consciousness, person to person. It's not warm, and it's not real. And that's what we really desire. They're either having a very good time or that baby's preaching. Preach. Oh, by the way, for those of you that are new here, that's where we have our whole children's section. And there's usually, any given Sunday, about 100 youth and adults over there having a whole totally different experience. So I really encourage you, if you ever are interested, to be a part of that. So I would love for you to have that kind of experience, to have the close, intimate kind of relationships that you want. And it's not so much about finding or maintaining anything, but allowing yourself to be free to have the kind of relationships you want, to have avocado pizza if you decide to have avocado pizza. I've never had avocado pizza, and why that came to me, actually it sounds awful. Anyway. But to have those kind of relationships, we need to heal or release the wounds or the buttons, whatever you want to call them, so that we can actually be active, because this is a month of love, and love is an activity. It's theory if it's not in activity. It's just theory. It's like energy. It can be in potential or it can be useful. You can have a battery and say, wow, there's a lot of energy in there, but it's just potential until you hook it up to something. So love is just potential unless you're interacting with someone. And you get to choose the way you want to have that interaction, because love is always appropriate. So I'm not here saying if you're single, you're not okay. I mean, I got that when I was young. I was having the time of my life. I had the career of my life. I loved it. I was so happy. I could not believe my good luck. They paid me to go around and drive around Oregon, which I loved, and to visit people and to have great times. And people would say, wow, that's a really interesting job, but you're not married. Oh, honey, you'll find somebody. I got pity. I was pitied. And I didn't have the guts to say, I am having the time of my life. I have a boyfriend in every town. Give me a break. It wasn't okay. Which leads me to the first thing that I want to talk about, because I want to talk about how to release those buttons or those wounds, or whatever you want to call them, that keep you from interacting with life in a positive way. to keep you from being a place where love happens. And when you are a place where love happens, you will attract love because like attracts like. But a lot of people want the love. They want it to show up and have somebody bring it to them. And instead of knowing that I am love, therefore I will attract. And if you depend upon it coming to you, then you are dependent upon that and not on yourself and not on love and not on God. And then you become a slave. You become a slave to people liking you or understanding you or appreciating you or seeing you as who you really are. How many have been there? So I'm not even talking about significant other. I'm talking about all relationships can be heavenly. The people you work with, the people you commute with, the people in your neighborhood, your family. I love Ram Dass. Ram Dass, he was once asked, how do we know when we're enlightened? And he said, when your family knows it. That was pretty good. So I want to give you 3 steps for becoming love, becoming a source of love that is so whole, complete, and perfect that you can only attract to you loving experiences. 3. Now, I also want to say, you know this. I'm not going to tell you anything different. We're just going to remind each other together. This is what people do. To become excellent, you practice, practice, practice. To become excellent, you do and put into action what you know so that you're a living example of it. I mean, let's go back to football, since we're just like this football city now. Every player knows what they're supposed to do, but they still have to practice it. Right? They can't just say, oh, I know. It has to be known to the place where they don't think. They just move into the right action. So we can talk about love and we can think about love, but we need to practice these things so that when something happens, our reaction is loving instead of reactive. So we can choose to be love and show up as love because it's going to be more fun. It's going to feel better. I mean, hate has a little juice in it. How many of you really, just once in a while? Once in a while, you just want to pull out a little venom. And did you see how sour and awful it gets so quickly now? It's pretty soon, the jolt is no longer rewarding. But love is rewarding all the time. So, number 1 thing to do, according to Don Miguel Ruiz, and I think it's true, I read it and I thought, yep, that makes sense. The first thing to do is to tell the truth. In the New Testament, it says, the truth shall set you free, and most of us tell things that keep us stuck in the past. Most people, we rehearse the things that we don't like about ourselves or like about others, and therefore we are just stuck. We can't move. So if you're telling yourself something that makes you feel small, unworthy, unacceptable, or somehow flawed, that's not the truth, and we need to stop it. I mean, Byron Katie has made a whole ministry out of this. Is it the truth? Are you sure it's the truth? Now, what's that thing say to you? Well, let's look at it another way. How many of you believe in a God? I mean, you came here. You are in the most unchurched city in the United States, and you're here. How many of you believe that there is a thing called spirit? How many of you believe that you're a spiritual being? How many of you believe that God is love? Guess what? Let's do algebra. If spirit is love and you are spirit, you are love. Woo. And anything else isn't the truth. But we can say those things, and we can actually start to believe those things. So we need to start telling ourselves not the fact, but the truth, the highest truth we know at any given time, and tell ourselves that over and over again. He says some great things in here. he says we have to stop believing in things. Actually, Don Miguel Ruiz, many of you have read his first book, which was The Four Agreements, and he actually came out with a book that said that this is the fifth agreement. And the fifth agreement is be skeptical. But be skeptical of what you say you believe. So first of all, stop believing me. And he said, stop believing me. Don't believe those people. Stop believing people. That will give you Kool-Aid. Thank you for getting the, it's like, how many of you know people that go off on these things because they believed someone? Now, what I will say is what Ernest Holmes said, don't listen to what I'm saying, try to listen to what I'm listening to, try it on and prove it to yourself. Don't believe what we say here. All we're doing is saying, try it on. If you like it, keep it. If you don't, discard it. I am not the final authority. Ernest Holmes isn't the final authority. No one is. You have to just try it on. Stop believing what people tell you as big authorities. We have gone beyond the age of guru. We have. The only way for us to really move the masses of people that need to be moved, to shift consciousness and bring heaven to earth, is that you all stop trusting them and start trusting you. Now here's the next one. Don't get too excited. Stop believing yourself. Stop it. You all tell yourselves things. Why do you believe it? I'm not worthy. Why do you believe that? I'm not good enough. Why do you believe that? I'm flawed. Why do you believe that? Do you see how crazy we are? You're here. Do you believe you're a spiritual being? Yes. Do you believe that spirituality is good? Yes. Well, so are you good? Yes. So what's this other stuff? We believe it because we've told ourselves that. And we may have told ourselves that because we were told that. I don't know. But guess what? We get to stop that. Even if you tell yourself, I am somehow flawed because of what happened to me. Because stuff happens. I mean, I could say that I can never have a healthy relationship because I never had it modeled for me. Some of you could say, I can't open my heart because it was hurt so badly by someone that I really trusted. You know what? We've got to create a new program. I said it first service, and it came out of my mouth. We got to do it. We have to create a coming-of-age program for 35-year-olds. Because after 35, you really need to just give up the stuff that you're the victim of what happened. Because by that time, you should know that you get to create your experience in this moment just by moving forward. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have not just a line, that's not enough. We're going to have fire, and then we're going to have snakes, and then we're going to have ice. And you're going to walk through it, and when you walk through it, you'll finally get that, guess what? You are the master of your reality, and you're going to leave your past behind. And stop believing this stuff. God bless. I mean, I've done it. I can't say this if I wasn't going through it first. I hate this stuff. I hate being a minister. God says, you're going to talk about this, so go here. So I'm doing this class, this year-long class, and we have to give up saying I am something. Just fast from it. I'm not going to change anything. I just have to fast, meaning go without. When Jesus said, you can't have that kind of faith without fasting and prayer, he didn't mean don't eat. They didn't have much to eat anyway. It meant fast, give it up, don't go there. So I'm giving up, and when I told the class, it made me choke because this thing that I was going to give up is so much a part of me, it felt like my innards were being ripped out. It was, I'm going to give up. I can't even tell you. I'm not going to even mention it. I mentioned it first service. Just get the tape. Doesn't matter. But I'm going to give up that which shall not be named. You know, it's because I have told myself that because I was told that, and I've rehearsed it every time, and when something doesn't happen, I say, well, that's proof of blah, blah, blah. I don't know what will happen if I give up blah, blah, blah. But I also know that as a spiritual being, I'm not that. Yes, as a flesh and blood person, that's a fact. This incarnation is a fact. What I am is eternal, everlasting. I'm a parenthesis in time, and so are you. And so what's true of me is what's eternally true of me, and that's what I want to talk about. But I can't talk about that if I'm busy talking about the stuff. Does that make sense? So you don't believe them, or the masters. You don't believe, and see, I'm just telling you this. I'm sharing my journey with you. If you want to get on it, you can, but you certainly don't have to. Any journey that gets you into the awareness, the true inner awareness, the experience of the living God Almighty, that's a good path. But it's not about through them, it's through you. The kitchen is within. So you don't believe the masters, you don't believe yourself. Be skeptical, and don't believe what others are trying to tell you about who you are. Just go, wow, that's interesting that you see that. What they say about you has much more to do with them than it does you. Take it as, believe it or not, it's all okay. But free yourself. Free yourself of the idea that anything could have kept you from living the life that you're called to live. If you're here, you are called to live a life. There's an internal call. And you can honor that internal call. And nothing can keep you from that internal call. But to do that, you may have to do the next step, which is forgiveness. So first, tell the truth, the biggest truth you can at any given time. And the next is do a lot of forgiveness. Once again, Don Miguel Ruiz quotes Jesus a lot, and he said, Jesus talked about forgiveness because that's the way to love. Edwin Gaines talks about forgiveness. So make two lists. The first list is, no one else talks about this, and I've always thought it was important. Make a list of everybody you've wronged. Most forgiveness is about make a list of people that have done something to you. Well, who hasn't done a few things? No hands. Make a list of people that you have wronged. It's okay. And to the best degree you can, tell them you're sorry. Apologize. Email, snail mail, if they're dead, heaven mail, face to face. Then make a list of those people who have wronged you. And the easiest way that I know of to move through that is to see them in your mind and say, I love you, I bless you, and I forgive you. This isn't a 12-step program. You don't have to seek them out. Because I think we're all interconnected, and when you shift your mind, they're going to shift their mind. So I love you, I bless you, and I release you. And you do that until, and in the Aramaic it was said 70 times 7, but that's pretty legalistic. But the spirit of 70 times 7 is do it until when they show up in your mind, your heart is still open. So if you think of them and your heart closes, you could do it some more. I love you, I bless you, I release you. And at first you may not want to love them, and you certainly don't want to bless them. And you find to get the hell out of here, but that's not releasing them. So you say it and say it and say it until you start to understand that what you're doing is supporting your eternal nature, which is to love, to bless, and to release. And you let it go over and over. And then you love yourself and forgive yourself. How many of you have done a few things that you just are like, oh, I can't believe I did that? Only a few of you. So this is what I would say. I love myself and will learn from my mistakes. I let go and am at peace. I love myself and I will learn from my mistakes. I let go and I am at peace. this has really helped me because there's not a day that goes by that I wish I hadn't done it a little differently. There's not a day that goes by that I know that if I was really living from love, I would have thought differently, acted differently, spoke differently. So I learned from that, and I am at peace. One of the great ways to repeat a bad habit is to make yourself wrong about that bad habit. I love myself. I learn from my mistakes. I let it go. I am at peace. Which leads me to the last thing to do, according to Don Miguel Ruiz. So first you tell the truth, then you do forgiveness, and then you just love, love, love. You love yourself. You go back into the kitchen and love yourself. You take what you need. He says it this way. Once we have cleaned the wounds, we are going to have a powerful medicine to accelerate the process of healing. Of course, the medicine also comes from the great master, and it is love. Love is the medicine that accelerates the process of healing. There is no other medicine but unconditional love. Not I love you if, or I love you now, but not then, or then, but not now. I love myself if. There is no if. There is no other time than now. There's no justification, there's no explanation, there's just love. Love yourself, love your neighbor, love your enemies. Love, love, love. That just sounds so easy, doesn't it? But here's the deal, it is easy if you're telling the truth and you're doing forgiveness work, because what you'll discover when you tell the truth and you do forgiveness work is that there really is love in there. I mean, like you didn't put it there, there's love. I'm not sure which program it was. I'm pretty sure it was, I'm not sure if it was EST or Landmark, but a lot of people took either EST or Landmark so they could get into communication training. And I just heard what the end was, and I accepted it. And that is, because I like to get to the end and go there, is that when you've said everything, when everything's said, when truth is really spoken, the only thing you'll ever find is love. Eventually, that's all there is. And what's kept us from knowing what we are in our very core and have always been is the fibs we've taken on and the fibs we've perpetuated and our unwillingness to forgive and move on. When we're willing to do those first two things, what we will find is love. And then we get to go out and play in the world. We just get to go out and bump into people and not be wounded. They're unskilled, so what? They're critical? Wow. Man. I remember falling in love with my father, and my father was still my father, and he was still critical. And I remember saying to him, because I was so filled with love, instead of being offended or shutting down or not sharing and all those things that I did to handle myself around my dad, I said, God, Daddy, you are so intuitive. You always know exactly what I don't want you to say. How do you do that? And it was the honest to goodness truth. I was not offended. Love's not offended. Somebody asked me, because I said at first service, if you're full of love, you don't have to have boundaries. Why? Because a boundary is something that's created by somebody that could be hurt. Love can't hurt. Now, love also doesn't put up with stuff. Love can say, excuse me, that's my foot. It doesn't pretend like you're not stepping on it. But there's no guile in it. There's no gotcha in it. There's no one-upsmanship. Wow, what would happen if we were filled with love? We'd actually be able to talk to each other and listen and maybe find common ground. Wow. And find out that the people that we have held grievances against are much like us, doing the best they can. So that's the whole idea about love. I love it. Eviania helped me with this. What we've talked about is, I love it. Eviania is going to help me. She's helped me because she's Greek. We've talked about two kinds of love. There's playful love, flirtatious, childlike interactions, which Wikipedia said was a Greek term, but it's ludus, but she says no, it's Latin. Just ludus. We've talked about ludus and the reason I'm saying this is there's so many kinds of love, and it's all been heaped into one basket, and there's different kinds. And we also, what's the philia? Is it philia? Philia. It's philia. I thought it was philia, like Philadelphia, but it's philia, so it's Philadelphia. Which is deep friendship, brotherly love, and loyalty. I mean, wouldn't you want some deep love and loyalty, friendship? Wouldn't you want somebody to go out and play with, have fun with? And then there's also eros, enough said. You can have that too. You can have any kind of love because it's all in the kitchen of your soul. God, this is what I want. And you open it up and you become it, and you must attract the person who will be able to deliver that to you without a hook, without a price. Because we attract what we are. Last week, we were really honored and blessed. Do you mind if we go a little bit over? Would you be okay? Because we blessed couples last week, and so now we get to bless everyone else. But I'm not going to assume that I know how you want to be blessed. I don't want to assume, like it was assumed that I was not quite whole until I was with someone. That's a bunch of bunk. So actually, we had 3 different people first service have 3 different requests about what they wanted as a single person. So Harold, you got a microphone? Okay, I guess you're coming up. Look at her, come up and be ready. What is it? Very quickly, what do you want?
I want a deep connection and belonging, both in individual and community. I want to be vulnerable and trust to show who I am, including my needs and my feelings, and let go of isolating independence and the feeling like I have to be my source and my only source. Really trust God to take care of me and know God is my source.
She's been working on this in between first and second services. I love it. So can I narrow this down? Would you like to give up your isolation so that you can be a magnet for the appropriate love from appropriate people? Because I read a lot of isolation there.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that, you want something more?
Trust God.
Great. So what you want to do is trust God so that you can give up your isolation and stop doing it all yourself. Mm-hmm. That's it. Exactly. Great. Who wants that? Great. That's perfect. Stand up. Everybody that wants that, stand up. See, you're so good. Now, everybody who already has that, come up here. Everybody already trusts God. Everyone who already knows that they can trust the universe, because that's the request. If we're isolated, it's because we don't trust the universe. So, look at all these people who have this, and what's great about consciousness is it's catching. You know this whole flu thing that's going around right now in Washington? Let's have a new flu. Love flu. I want you to catch it. Actually, Hafiz has a poem. He said, I was out wandering in the night last night, and I caught the love virus. It's very catching, so kiss me. So these are people who absolutely know that everyone standing can release their sense of isolation because they are accepting their trust in the universe. And then who will you attract if you accept your trust in the universe? You will attract people who trust the universe. Isn't that true? If you're isolated, even if you bump into somebody, you're going to bump into somebody who's isolated. So the two of you will try to have a relationship not talking or even sharing intimately. How many of you have done that? Great. Let's see if we can go beyond that. So I'll do the prayer. You share your consciousness and energy, all right? All right, so the prayer is, I absolutely know that there's one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect, and that life is love. For life and love are just aspects of the creative isness of the universe that makes out of itself the universe, the creation that we see. I give thanks there was nothing else for this isness, this creator to create out of except itself. So everything is created out of life and love, energy, thought, goodness. And so knowing that is the truth, I give thanks that each and every one of us have a reset button installed at the very beginning of time. And that reset button brings us back to our beginning, brings us back before learning, back before this incarnation, back before that incarnation, back to the beginning where we were one with the one and were pure love. And I give thanks that that love is now reintroducing itself to our soul. And our soul is saying yea and amen. And we are feeling that love nurturing, blessing, and cleansing our soul so that we may unfold, knowing that the only thing that we can greet and meet from this moment on is more love, because we are allowing that love to fill us. And therefore, all needs of isolation, all needs to be protected, all needs to defend ourselves, all needs to hide are being dissolved into the nothingness as love moves through the soul of every person standing, every person sitting, every person that we know. We're letting love do its work and to reveal to us that we can be strong in the world because love fears nothing, harms nothing, destroys nothing. Love conquers all, and we're it, and so it is. So it is. All right. Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you, lovers. All right. Who else? One other person have a request. See, I don't want to assume that I know what you guys would want. No other request? Oh, wait, way back there, but you have to hurry up. Speedy, fleet of foot. That's very good. Fleet of foot and good of balance.
I would love a work-life balance.
Work-life balance.
In such a way that is opening up and allowing me to fully express myself as a practitioner, not as a worker.
Ah.
Thanks.
And what would you be practicing?
One moment. Empowering men to make choices that better their lives, and this would show up as in serving in workshops, coaching and counseling, and TAing and supporting spiritual classes, which have guided and directed me for the last 6 years.
Great, thank you. All right, so could I simplify that? Would you like to have a work-life balance that allows you to be a practitioner of empowerment, which is really a practitioner of your calling?
I am open, allowing, and embracing that.
Great. Because I want to be able to bless a lot of people. So how many of you would like to be so blessed that you become a practitioner of your calling? Who would like that? Stand up. See, if I simplify it, then you get the whole crowd. Now I'm calling up our practitioners and practitioners in training to please come up and join me. Because these people have answered a call, they know what it's like. So all of these people are knowing that every single one of you deserve to live your calling in a powerful, balanced way. No one suffers, including the person standing. Okay? Are you ready? Yeah. Look at the power in this room, brothers and sisters. Great. So I want you to turn a little bit because see those people over there? They need your blessing too. Don't forget the corners. It's like a fitted sheet. There you go. So, and you move over there so that you can receive the blessing. Join right over there. Thank you very much. Okay, so also for all of you receiving, watch your body language be open. Great. So I absolutely give thanks that right here and right now, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that before we took our first breath, before that egg and sperm came together, before the twinkle in any parent's eye, before, each and every one of us took on an aspect of heaven. We took on a shard of perfection. And it is our gift to creation to make manifest that idea. And I am so grateful that that idea is now blooming inside of us so that each and every one of us can live our calling. It sounds like a calling, but we've already been called. Really, we're living the answering. I give thanks that we are living the answering of spirit calling to spirit, deep calling to deep, but we're the one that set the alarm clock. Thank you, sweet Spirit, that it is ringing and going off for each person that is standing, and that we are now being directed by divine intelligence for the easy and effortless, beautiful and flawless moving towards that answering of creation so that we give our gift so that the gifts can be made and that the world can be made better. I give thanks that we are empowered in all of this, supported in all of this, and maintained in all of this. For if God called us, God will answer us. And if God answers us, everything is in the answer. There's nothing missing, nothing lacking. All is whole, all is done now and forevermore. So it is.